Alright, back to this Westie 161, number 6 I believe it is. Um, in the previous video, I believe I showed it with the chassis with the uh, dial sheet on the dial sheet holder. But after looking at it, oh, by the way, we got we've we've got the chassis fully aligned on both bands, and was getting ready to wind up the cabinet and getting the speaker mounted and the chassis slid back in, when after looking at that dial for the longest time, I put out a call on Antique Radio Forum for a dial for it. I haven't got a response on it yet. Been a couple of days, because I don't like the look of it, because it has some serious shadowing to it. I'm not sure what it's from. I would say it's from UV exposure. It doesn't appear that heavy on the back if you look at it. I mean, but on the front, it's just horrible. It's just horrible. So rather than take the one off the last remaining 161, I wasn't sure if I could recover that one from another source before getting to that next 161. So what I did was I took the dial and took it in and scanned it. Oh, sorry about the reflections. Took it in and scanned it into the computer and brought it up in the graphics program and sharpened it up and printed it on a decal, a full sheet decal paper. And used one of my, let's see if I can dig one out here relatively easily. On my three-ring subject divider sheets that are matte finish frosted, and touched it up with some clear poly, and then took the decal and transferred it to there, and then to get the color, doggone, no matter where I stand, I'm getting glares. Took some ivory gloss and sprayed the back side of the divider sheet, and then scanned the opposite side of the dial, of the other dial, that is, the one off the remaining 161, scanned it in and printed it on light stock and sandwiched it in between a PET G sheet. I think it might be 1 mil. It could be 2 mil, but I think it's 1 mil, somewhere around in there. And sandwiched it in between that and the the matte finished subject divider sheet, and laminated it. And this is what I got. So I'm going to go with this, and if I bag one off of Antique Radioform or some other source, I'll do that, and I'll have one optional. I'm not really sure why this one here, see, you can't tell if there's anything up with this until you turn it over. So I'm thinking this might have been sitting in a spot that got sun during the morning or late afternoon hours, because it didn't do it on the whole thing. Now, why it didn't do it on the FM side as heavy as it did on the back side of that, I don't know. Maybe it was caused by something else. But that's the only thing I can liken that shadowing to. I mean, I felt ill when I seen when I turned the radio on and the lamps lit up, and this dark area was there. So I'm gonna go with this. So that's that. Wow, that blew that 6 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and get that mounted back up onto here. We're going to check it out one more time. And what I've been doing for the past week is messing with the speaker on this. The speaker on this, I know I said that that I reconed it and everything, and it works, but it's got a telltale rub on the voice coil. I mean, you can't tell it all the time, but I mean, if I let it go like that and somebody detects it in a certain instance, like on a semi-strong radio station, they'll get that little bit of itchy, scratchy sound to it, and they'll question it. I'm sure they will, because I could detect it, and if I can detect it, they're going to detect it. I mean, it's very subtle, very subtle. You won't be able to, I mean, audiophiles will be able to do it, and I know some people with hefty radios and got large speakers such as this, and you get that slight little rub in the voice, and they can pick it up. So what I decided to do was substitute number 7's speaker. I bagged it and put it in the cabinet, and this one here I'm going to work it later on when I get to number 7, and hopefully get it straightened out. Yeah. So because in the last few days I was winding up a subscriber's radio out of San Francisco. He wanted to get his F63 GE punched up and in operating condition. And as a matter of fact, I just wound it up. I had some issues with it. I spent about 3 extra days on it. And then another subscriber from Texas sent me his bomber radio, a TO bomber 7G605 for recapping and refurbishing. This will be the second one that I've done for him. I did the other one about a month and a half, 2 months ago. So I just got this yesterday afternoon. Day before yesterday afternoon. And got it up on the bench and was checking it out. And thought, I really need to get this one out of my hair. And I'm not going to wait for somebody to respond to my call for a dial. So the cabinet has been ready. I got the new Westinghouse cabinet sticker in there with the tube location chart and everything. I got the AM loop antenna back in on the cabinet. Got the interior bow tie antenna in on the top. I got the dial cloth for it. We've got the cabinet all done. That's a beauty. It's going to be completely different from the other ones, that's for sure. I had to bring in a dial glass from another radio because the other one had a little rubbing of the triangles off over here, and the backing for it, the trim backing on the thing, if you remember, it was glued onto the t-shirt, and consequently it was painted over by whoever did the painting on the artwork on the cabinet. So I backed it off. I got these as a pair off of eBay sometime after I got these radios in. I figured it'd be nice to have one of those for backup, just in case. And here was the just in case. The Westie badge, I had to put a couple of mounting pins on the back there. You can see them, they're in white. I had to drill into this partly and plug them with some epoxy. And the badge may look a little bit more reddish than it should be. That's because I went over it with what did I go over it with? Glass stain. No. I went over it with some red dye, rose dye, that I use for my my push buttons as a colorant. So and I got it go-to glued to the substrate after after this grill cloth went on. The thing has fresh decals. This bar here was stripped, sanded down smooth as a baby's behind, and shot with an airbrush with a full cup of cognac spray. So there's that. So I'm wanting to get this wound up before I jump both feet into that bomber radio, so I can put this to rest and get it posted up. Get the video behind me. We still got this $439 in the rack. It's still out there on eBay with a ton of watchers procrastinating over it. And I'll tell you what, after about a few weeks, which it has been a few weeks, somebody will come along and not even blink an eye to pay whatever I got on it, and snatch it out from under the noses of everybody who's watching. So anyway, this is running too long. I've been gabbing too much. I'm going to get this back on the radio, and then we'll get a checkout on it, and we'll get that cabinet up here on the shelf, and shoehorn this chassis back in and get it finalized. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching and bearing with me.